we're going to step into the other element of success to build momentum, which is literally teamwork. Okay, and I'm going to read a definition that I found that's totally different than all the teamwork that I've ever read. So, bear with me as I read it. And basically says this: at its most dynamic level, a team is a system, a network of interdependent components that work together to try to accomplish the aim of the system's architects. You guys follow? That's powerful if you really get a hold of that. Now, the architect in this case is not even Rick, is God. Why? Because that's where we have this company. This company was built with a bigger purpose than just making money. So if you really take a look at it, I'm going to read it again. At its most dynamic level, a team is a system, a network of interdependent components that work together to try to accomplish the aim of the system architects. If you really think about that, what did Darla say last week? It's exactly the same thing, right? We have to be interdependent in order to be successful. Why? Because what Monique does, if she doesn't do in her department, we fail and our investors fail, right? But if sales isn't bringing business to the table, then Monique has no job to do and the admin team has no work to do. Does that make sense? So we're interdependent. We need each other in order to be successful. So if we need each other, why not play well together, work together, become synchronized, and ultimately achieve the next level? Because that's where growth comes. Everybody with me so far? Now, what I started doing is I started researching high performance teams, companies, and it was really interesting, some of the stuff that I found. But there was a major survey that was done, and they said, look, there's really 7 components here. So I want to show you, what do elite teams have in common? And this is the commonalities between all of them. And it's very simple. The first one on the list was clear communication across the board. I think somebody's reading our mail. You guys agree? So number 1, this is the most dominating teams on the planet have clear communication across the board. Number 2 is they're united and focused on goals with results. They're literally working together to achieve an objective. Doesn't that sound like the definition already? You see how closely connected these components are? So again, you have clear communication across the board and they're united in their focus on goals with results. The third one on the list I thought was interesting. Everyone aims to contribute their share. Now, this is important to understand that in those teams, what that really meant, and there was a whole description of what it was, all these individual team members that are within their organization, they didn't let everybody else carry their weight. They were focused on understanding, I'm going to do my part and I'm going to carry my weight so that I can make sure that we're moving smoothly. Not one person in these elite teams let everybody carry them. Everybody that was elite understood that they were valuable in their team and their role was crucial, so therefore they carried their weight. And that was number 3 of the observations of what they found in common with the top performing teams. All right, number 4, they encourage and challenge each other to produce. They found that there was a lot of interesting chatter between this, but specifically what they talked about is they have the freedom and flexibility in the team to encourage and challenge one another in order to step up their game. So there are times where, hey, I'm down, I want to encourage you, right? But there's other times that I need to challenge you. Hey, come on, we're going to hit this goal. If we don't hit this goal now, we miss out, we're behind. Come on, let's do it. And in other words, it was like what I would call a united accountability. They encourage each other and they held each other accountable to hit their goals. So that was 4 on the list. Number 5 is they leverage the diversity of the team's strengths. That was another key component that is really imperative. So let me give you an example. They leverage the strengths of each other's team members. So let's say, for example, right now, we know that Darla is really, really good at putting systems together, finding things, right? She's a lot more analytical. She's able to run numbers, right? So if I go to Steve and I say, Steve, I want you to go and start analyzing all the details that we need in order to get processes, who do you think is going to outperform?
Go to Darla.
Go to Darla, right? Why? Because that's her strength. So a team understands, hey, I don't have to do everything. I don't have to know everything. I don't have to be the best at everything. But if I know Darla's really good at this, then Darla, could you head this? If we need somebody that's connecting with investors, building relationships and building value and performing, then I'm going to lean on Steve because that's your strength. Does that make sense? So in the same way as we're working together as a team, you basically become acutely aware of the strengths of your team members around you, and you guys leverage each other's strengths in order to do business. There was one sales piece that talked about the leveraging of this, and they said that there are some of the top salespeople that have actually had to double team transactions because one of the sales reps knew that this other individual on the sales team had a very powerful skill to close this personality type. And so instead of him trying to butt heads with this client type, he just said, hey, I'll give you a commission, just help me. So he leveraged his team member who was really strong at closing in this, and guess what? They achieved the goal. Now, he could have been stubborn and said, I'm going to try to do this, and probably his sales would have gone down, but the guy was smart enough to leverage the strength of his team. So he was able to bring him in an alliance.